To replace the woman's position as senior engineer, the plant manager hired a technical expert from a rival company at a high salary. He put the expert fully in charge of the factory's technical issues. In less than a minute, the expert got the malfunctioning equipment running normally. The plant manager was extremely pleased to see this. He believed that with the expert, all the factory's technical problems could be solved. From then on, they would no longer need the woman to handle machine repairs. The woman said nothing in response. She knew very well that this expert was an imposter, with only a superficial understanding of the technology. Sure enough, the next moment the expert ran into trouble while repairing the production line. He was unfamiliar with the LW module used by the machine, nor could he find any information about it in the manual. Just as he was fretting over this, a worker suddenly ran over to report to the plant manager that the American client had sent an urgent follow-up email. The email asked for the operational data for the LW module, which would affect whether the client would place additional orders, and demanded an immediate reply. The plant manager knew that this machine used the LW module. He demanded that the expert fix it as soon as possible. After all, 80% of the factory's orders came from American clients. If they did not reply today, there would be trouble. The expert believed he was not responsible for this problem. If anyone were to be held accountable, they should look for the designers and operators of the LW module. Everyone knew the designer was the woman. At this point, the plant manager's nephew accused the woman of deliberately causing the problem. He demanded that she explain the LW module immediately. She explained that the LW module is a power consumption optimization and precision compensation system specifically designed to match the American client's specially customized products. Moreover, the computational data model for the LW module had already been made public within engineering circles. She questioned the imposter, asking how. As a technical expert, he could not have heard of it. The expert pretended to know, saying he simply couldn't recall it at the moment. He decided to go home that night and look it up online. However, the next day the plant manager discovered that all of the factory's machines had malfunctioned. If the production line could not be restored, the factory would have to pay the American client tens of millions of dollars in compensation. The expert said he had intended to bypass the LW module and forcibly modify the core code. He had not expected the entire production line system to be locked. Because the LW module had been designed by the woman and her mentor, only the woman could now repair it. The plant manager apologized for previously deducting $100,000 from the woman's year-end bonus. He promised that if the woman repaired the production line, he would reward her with $200,000. The woman was no longer satisfied with money. She demanded that the plant manager apologize to her in front of all the employees and restore her $100,000 year-end bonus. Prideful, the plant manager refused. He turned and left in anger. Then he discussed countermeasures with the expert and his nephew. Because the American client was sending representatives the next day to inspect production progress, if the production line could not be restored, they would have to bear the responsibility. The expert proposed completely removing the LW module and then reprogramming a new set of code. The plant manager agreed wholeheartedly, thinking that as long as the new code could replace the LW module, they could immediately fire the woman. A co-worker overheard the three talking. He told the woman that the plant manager had decided to format the system. Doing so would turn the machines into a heap of scrap metal. The woman was secretly pleased to hear this, because that was exactly what she wanted, to cause trouble for the plant manager. The next day, the American client's representatives issued the factory an ultimatum that if production was not restored today, they would initiate a claim for tens of millions of dollars. The plant manager explained that the factory system had recently been sabotaged, and that a new program had now been recompiled. The client's representative walked into the workshop to inspect the equipment's operation, and found that all the machines were sounding alarms. The plant manager hurriedly sent the expert to check. The expert discovered that none of the equipment could be operated. The client representative demanded a reasonable explanation from the plant manager, or they would see him in court. The plant manager was so frightened his legs went weak and he almost collapsed. He had only been in his position for a month and did not want to lose his job. To shirk responsibility, he falsely accused the woman of sabotaging the production line equipment, but she did not rush to explain. Instead, she watched the plant manager lie in front of Mr. Schneider, the representative of the American client. He accused the woman of slacking off and causing the production line to stop. Just as the plant manager was about to fire the woman, Mr. Schneider intervened in time. He straightened his attire. He respectfully addressed the woman as teacher. Seeing this scene, everyone was astonished. Colleagues had assumed the woman had long known Mr. Schneider. The woman denied it. The plant manager immediately reminded Mr. Schneider that he might have mistaken the person. He insisted the woman was only an ordinary engineer at their factory. She could not possibly be Mr. Schneider's teacher. Mr. Schneider was very angry. He explained that 3 years earlier the woman had given a lecture at Harvard University. He had also been in the audience at that time. That technical lecture had benefited him greatly. He knew very well that the woman was responsible for optimizing the LW module, and the sole patent holder of the core system of the entire production line. Therefore, he did not believe the woman would slack off. Even though Mr. Schneider said this, the plant manager and his nephew still questioned the woman's identity. To prove it, the woman produced a patent certificate stamped with the national seal. After seeing it, the plant manager slandered that the woman's patent was forged, and warned Mr. Schneider not to be deceived by her. Mr. Schneider scolded the plant manager for being foolish. If they had been more careful, they would have discovered that the LW module is an acronym of the woman's name. The woman said the LW module had been independently developed by her and her mentor. This power consumption optimization and precision compensation system was specifically matched to the American client's product, and she had also provided it to the factory free of charge. The plant manager was incredulous when he heard this. In the next moment, Mr. Schneider wanted to terminate cooperation with the factory, simply because the plant manager had just fired the woman. In fact, the American client company had cooperated with the factory, because the factory's machines used the LW module developed by the woman. The woman's technology was the only reason for the cooperation between the two parties, and only she could meet their strict product precision requirements. Now that the woman had been fired, they had no reason to continue cooperating with the factory. Only at that moment did the plant manager realize that his ability to work with the American client was not because he was the factory chairman's cousin, nor because of the machine machines in the factory. It was all thanks to the woman. If the order were cancelled, the factory would face bankruptcy and closure. Fearing accountability, the plant manager and his nephew immediately knelt and apologized to the woman, hoping she would resume the production line as soon as possible. They promised to agree to any demand she made. The woman refused, but she did not want to see the factory go bankrupt. So, acting as an advisor to the American client company, she put forward 3 demands. The first demand was to dismiss the plant manager and his nephew. The second demand was that the plant manager pay $500,000 in compensation for his prior defamation of her reputation. The third was that she would charge for repairing the production line, calculated at $10,000 per hour, until the production line passed inspection. Upon hearing this, everyone accused the woman of extortion. However, the woman was confident the factory chairman would agree. After all, that amount of money was small compared with the cost of bankruptcy. Mr. Schneider immediately held a video conference with the factory chairman, requesting that the chairman accept the woman's 3 demands. Otherwise, by losing the American client's large order, the factory would not only have to pay huge liquidated damages, but could even suffer damage to the group's reputation in the industry. The chairman, on behalf of the group, agreed to the woman's demands and transferred $500,000 to her as compensation. He then dismissed the plant manager and his nephew, hoping only that the woman could resume the production line as soon as possible. In fact, the woman also did not want to see the factory go bankrupt. After all, the production line was the fruit of her and her mentor's hard work. However, after the plant manager and his nephew were driven out of the factory, they harbored resentment and planned to retaliate against the woman. Sure enough, after the woman repaired the production line, and the factory had resumed production for only a short time, the woman found that the machine where logs were abnormal.